Hi there. Welcome back for part 3 of our series on how current events can impact your recruiting. On this video, we're going to address some of the questions and potential impacts that recent NCAA decisions will have on the recruiting landscape over the next few years. First, let's start by saying that a lot of the questions and topics that we'll address today are still evolving. They're in a constant state of flux and they are far from settled. Ultimately, large parts of these questions are going to be addressed either directly or indirectly by NCAA decisions that should be coming over the next few months. In the meantime, until we see those decisions come down, we want to make sure that families have these questions on their radar so that they can start to move forward navigating their recruiting with the potential impacts and changes in mind as they go about their process in the coming months. With the cancellation of college softball seasons, there have already been some decisions from the NCAA that will impact future recruiting classes, namely the extension of another year of eligibility to current graduating seniors, so the college class of 2020. From this stem other questions about roster size, scholarship availability, playing time, and more that reach from next fall's incoming college recruiting class through quite possibly the next few years for these softball programs' recruiting efforts. So first up, let's take a look tactfully at what some of the changes are. The NCAA extended eligibility for current seniors for another year due to the truncated season. So far, this has been the most impactful decision, and it was made very quickly, all things considered, to extend another year of eligibility to this year's seniors who had their seasons cut short across divisions 1, 2, and 3. While it remains to be seen how many of these current seniors actually take advantage of or use this additional year of eligibility, it could have impacts on upcoming recruiting classes and also some of the recruiting tactics and strategies that college coaches are able to use. Or in the second point a bit later on. The other change already outlined and executed by the NCAA is the implementation of an additional recruiting dead period effective from last week through currently April 15th. We talked about what this new dead period means tactically and also how prospective student athletes can continue to move their recruiting forward on parts 1 and 2 of this series. So if you have specific questions about the dead period or what you can be doing right now to still advance your recruiting, please feel free to review and take a look at those other 2 videos or blog posts. In addition to these tactical notes on what student athletes can do right now to keep moving in their recruiting, this new dead period will also impact how college coaches recruit over the next few months and quite possibly through the summer and into coming years in their efforts as well. While coaches right now aren't able to conduct any face-to-face recruiting, either on their own campus or off campus, they are able to communicate via email and phone with prospective student athletes. And without the time pressures of being in season right now, honestly, they have more availability to pursue their digital recruiting efforts aggressively in a way that they usually wouldn't if they're in season. In fact, many college coaches that we've spoken with are taking to social media, taking to email to make sure that potential recruits know that they can still have and be in effective contact with them during this time. So as we talked about in part 2, please make sure that over the next few months, you're using this time to be in touch with the college coaches, building out your college list, et cetera. Take advantage of this time when they are around their offices, around their computers a bit more. Also, this means that for at least the next month until the current April 15th deadline, coaches are going to be shifting a lot of recruiting efforts and eyeballs towards video. Video has never been more important in recruiting than it is right now, both for student athletes and for coaches. This shift, which at least for a month, possibly more, to video, it could quite honestly prove very sticky and effective for coaches, and it may become a more permanent trend in recruiting as well. Even up until now, coaches have used video heavily in their recruiting efforts to see as many potential recruits as possible. Now, with coaches restricted to campus, it's even more important over the coming months, and it's worth doubling down on video for prospective student athletes to make sure that you're set up for success in that video phase. Now, the already made changes, the eligibility decision, and the current dead period, those have already been made by the NCAA, but there are more decisions coming in the next few months that could further impact recruiting for this summer and potentially the next few years. For example, roster size. While Division I softball doesn't have a hard cap for the number of rostered players, most D1 teams have between 15 and 20 players, let's say, on their roster. So with seniors able to stay for another year, at least at schools that have some kind of master's or grad programs that they can register for, in 2020, there's the potential for some rosters to be larger than they typically would be, which could mean increased competition for playing time, um, cuts, red shirts, et cetera, all sorts of things. And while Division III also doesn't have a roster limit, they follow some of the same typical best practices, and you'll see around 15, 18, 20 girls on these rosters. And every coaching staff does limit roster size, and most tend to hover in that high teens, low 20s number. If you have a question about a specific program and what they typically carry on their roster, take a look at their rosters online. They're all posted on the athletics websites. And just verify what your target schools have in terms of roster numbers. The results could vary, so knowing your specific schools is always a really good idea. Second, scholarships. Current NCAA Division I rules allow for 12 scholarships at fully funded softball programs, which also can be divided up. So it doesn't need to be 12 scholarships going to a one-to-one relationship for 12 student athletes. They can split them into halves, into thirds, so that their roster is covered with, a 50% scholarship here, a 25% scholarship there, etc. So the question remains in this case if that 12 scholarship cap per program is going to potentially have a 1 or 2 year increase, since some of these potentially returning seniors would occupy pieces or whole slots in that scholarship allowance. And so what programs and what the NCAA does around these 12 scholarships in each program, what the programs do with them, is certainly a question moving forward. All of these, the 12 scholarships, it would be a decision from the NCAA, and ones that probably will see some movement on in the coming weeks or months. Some prevailing sources do think that there could be some sort of 1 or 2 year waiver in the scholarship size in particular. So we'll kind of see how that shakes out. The unique thing on the softball front is that with the roster size not being mandated and not being capped as it is in some other sports, some of these decisions are going to be determined independently and autonomously by programs, by coaches, by admissions departments, and by individual schools or leagues, et cetera. So the results certainly could vary between one league to another, even though they're both at Division I level, or even from school to school within a league, if it is not mandated or dictated from the league down. So a key thing here is to be in constant, effective communication with coaches at the programs you are targeting, because then you can start to begin this dialogue with them about what these changes might mean for them in the coming months. Now, one thing important to keep in mind is that most coaches right now don't yet know what these changes are going to be or what they might mean, because they haven't gotten that guidance from the NCAA or from their program or from their league. So starting a dialogue is important, but also keep in mind that the answer right now for a lot of these programs is going to be that they don't know. They don't necessarily know yet what these impacts might be. But you can start to think about and ask these questions. All right, so potential impacts. These decisions ultimately will have an impact on teams, rosters, coaches, recruits, and while the most immediate effects could be felt by the incoming recruiting class next fall, the high school class of 2020, how long any exceptions or waivers last, is it 1 year only, is it 2, does it extend, could cause cascading and second order knock-on effects further on down the line for future recruiting efforts and classes as well. Namely, scholarship decisions could impact the size of future recruiting classes, availability of scholarships, and also competition for playing time, as well as a handful of other things as well. With an additional year of eligibility, seniors who are and were already planning on pursuing graduate degrees, either at their current school or others who may be able to use this additional year of softball while they're getting their master's or their law degree, et cetera. This could mean an uptick in some kind of graduate transfers at all levels of college softball, even where we typically haven't seen it before. Previously, most high academic programs, especially at the Division III level, would very, very seldomly have grad transfers. But even at these programs now, there's the potential to see some, since many of these student athletes at these high academic schools go on to graduate degrees or master's programs. And now they have that year, they can continue playing softball during that year in a way which previously they had been precluded from doing just by virtue of their having worn out their eligibility. One interesting consideration here is the impact of these types of player additions and these graduate transfers on the culture of the program. In talking with some of our friends at the high academic Division III level in particular, even with this and these graduate transfers being a potentially viable option for the first time, there's still the necessary caution and due diligence and thinking through of what the impact on the locker room and the team culture could be if there are a handful or an influx of graduate transfers into their program. Now, we've talked about the decision, we've talked about some of the further questions that still remain. What are the lessons and takeaways for student athletes and families? With all of these changes, questions, real and potential impacts, where does it leave the families and prospective student athletes? As we've thought through these impacts and discussed them with college coaches and families and players, I think that the main takeaways really serve to underscore and double down on some places and some pieces in the recruiting process that we have really for a long time thought were the central pieces and of central importance, fundamental importance as you go through your recruiting process. The first is holistic fit at the college level is the single most important win in the recruiting process, and finding the right fit is more important now than it ever has been. As recent events have showed nationwide, a college softball season is not guaranteed, so it's crucial for student athletes to consider what their time in college looks like, both with and without softball. Softball careers end, whether it's after high school, after college, playing for Team USA, whatever it is, softball careers end. And so an important piece in the recruiting process is centering on holistic fit and setting yourself up for success in your life after softball by maximizing your academic opportunities while you're in college. Point number two is you need to be ready to arrive at college ready to compete. Whether there is a larger roster or more scholarship players or not over the coming years, make no mistake about it, when you show up in a college softball program, you're going to be competing for playing time, and you're going to be fighting to carve out a role for yourself on that team from which you can help the team succeed. So while potentially expanded rosters in the next few years might put a magnifying glass on this, it's not a new thing, and it actually underscores, and it's exactly what college coaches are looking for you to do when you arrive on campus, is be ready to compete for a job from day one. Thank you for sticking with us this week to learn more about how current events and how the coronavirus could stand to impact college softball recruiting, and also how you as a prospective student athlete can set yourself up for success even during this time and this perceived interruption in the process. Next week, stay tuned for a handful of additional upcoming videos and blog posts where we'll talk further about the program and also cover some more developments and questions that have come in. In the meantime, if you have specific questions about your recruiting process, how to navigate it, questions about these last few videos, or whatever the case may be, certainly feel free to contact us. You can always reach our team by email at showcase@headfirst.com or by phone at 202-715-6654. Or you can always pop onto our website, headfirsthonoroll.com/softball, and chat with us there via the live chat feature. We look forward to hearing you. We love helping families and supporting you guys through this recruiting process, especially during a time that is uniquely difficult. So let us know how we can help. Feel free to reach out, and I look forward to talking to all of you again soon.